First of all, the reason I did that,
Yes.
come out to see you like that,
Yeah.
was my 15-year-old daughter, Elizabeth, begged me not to do anything to embarrass the family.
For years, actor Sean Astin, Patty Duke's son, believed he knew who his real father was. Then everything changed. A simple DNA test unlocked a decades-old mystery that had followed him since birth. A mystery that involved Hollywood stars, a whirlwind marriage, and one surprising truth. Now, after staying quiet for much of his life, Sean is finally opening up about what it really means to find your father and how love, not blood, shaped the man he became. Who is Patty Duke?
How many times did I hear pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Too many to count. And from myself.
Patty Duke was one of the most remarkable American actresses of the 20th century. She lived a life full of talent, fame, personal pain, and powerful advocacy. Known not only for her acting, but also for her openness about mental illness, Patty Duke made a lasting difference in both the entertainment industry and the mental health community. Patty Duke was born as Anna Marie Duke on the 14th of December 1946 in New York City. She grew up in Elmhurst, a neighborhood in Queens. She was the youngest of 3 children. Her family life was difficult from the start. Her father, John Brock Duke, was an alcoholic. He left the family when Patty was still young. Her mother, Frances Duke, had problems with her mental health, which made it hard for her to care for her children. When Patty was only 8 years old, her mother gave custody of her to 2 talent managers named John and Ethel Ross. These 2 people changed Patty's life in many ways. The Rosses changed Anna Marie's name to Patty and took complete control of her career and personal life. They lied about her age to help her get acting roles. They told casting directors she was older than she really was. They also changed her birth date and created a false biography for her. Although the Rosses gave Patty many jobs in television and commercials, they mistreated her and emotionally manipulated her for their own gain. This early part of Patty's life was full of confusion and sadness. She did not feel safe or loved, even as she was starting to become famous. Despite her challenging childhood, Patty Duke demonstrated remarkable acting talent from a young age. Her big break came when she was 12 years old. She was cast to play Helen Keller in the Broadway play The Miracle Worker. Helen Keller was a real person who was blind and deaf, and the story of her childhood was both powerful and emotional. Patty's performance in the play was so good that she was chosen to play Helen again in the movie version of The Miracle Worker, which was released in 1962. The movie was a success. At the age of 16, Patty Duke won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. She was the youngest person at the time to win an Oscar in a competitive category. This achievement made her a star and opened the door to even more opportunities in Hollywood. After her Oscar win, Patty Duke became a household name in America, thanks to her television show, The Patty Duke Show. The show aired from 1963 to 1966. In the series, Patty played 2 different characters, a fun-loving American teenager named Patty Lane and her quiet, proper British cousin named Kathy Lane. Audiences were amazed by how well she played both roles, often in the same scenes. The show was funny, creative, and very popular. It made Patty Duke one of the most recognized young actresses on television. However, while things looked perfect on the outside, Patty was suffering on the inside. As a teenager and young adult, she experienced intense mood swings and deep feelings of sadness. She often felt out of control and didn't understand why. She sometimes acted recklessly or became extremely emotional. These problems affected her work and relationships, but nobody really understood what was going on. Back then, people did not talk openly about mental health, and the medical community did not know as much about conditions like bipolar disorder. As she moved into adult roles, Patty continued acting in both movies and television. In 1967, she starred in Valley of the Dolls, playing a character named Neely O'Hara. The film was not well received by critics, but it gained a cult following and became part of pop culture history. In 1969, she starred in Me, Natalie, a film about a young woman trying to find her place in the world. Her performance was emotional, and she won a Golden Globe Award for it. Despite her professional success, Patty's personal life was becoming more troubled. She had periods of depression, anxiety, and intense energy that she could not control. She had eating disorders, used substances and alcohol, and was sometimes hospitalized for emotional breakdowns. These problems were confusing for her and those around her. In 1982, she finally received a diagnosis of bipolar disorder. This news was both shocking and relieving. For the first time, she had an explanation for the mood swings and emotional pain she had suffered for most of her life. After her diagnosis, Patty Duke began treatment and worked hard to manage her mental health. She took medication and saw doctors regularly. More importantly, she made the brave decision to speak out about her illness. In a time when mental illness was rarely discussed in public, Patty shared her story openly. She wanted others to know that they were not alone and that help was available. In 1987, she published her autobiography titled Call Me Anna, where she talked about her childhood, her career, and her struggle with bipolar disorder. The book was very successful and helped change the way people thought about mental health. Patty became a strong voice for mental health awareness. She gave speeches, worked with organizations like the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and even spoke to lawmakers in Washington, D.C. She encouraged others to seek treatment and pushed for more funding and research. In 1992, she co-wrote another book called Brilliant Madness, which focused more on living with bipolar disorder. Her honesty and bravery helped many people feel seen and understood. At the same time, Patty continued her acting career. She appeared in many television movies and guest starred on popular shows. She played characters in drama, comedy, and even musicals. In her later years, she acted in stage productions of famous plays like Oklahoma and Wicked. She also appeared in a guest role on the television show Glee. No matter the role, Patty gave her full heart to her work. Patty Duke also played a leadership role in the acting world. From 1985 to 1988, she served as president of the Screen Actors Guild, the main union for actors in the United States. She was one of the first women to lead the organization. During her time as president, she worked to protect young actors from unfair treatment and fought for better pay and rights for performers. In her personal life, Patty was married 4 times. Her second husband was actor John Astin, best known for playing Gomez Addams on The Addams Family. They married in 1972 and had one son, Sean Astin. Patty also had another son, Mackenzie Astin, who also became an actor. Her third son, Kevin, was adopted by her fourth husband, Michael Pierce. There was some confusion over Sean Astin's biological father. At different times, people believed it was John Astin, Daisy Arnaz Jr., or a man named Michael Tell. A DNA test later confirmed who Sean's biological father was, and it shocked everyone because all 3 men were involved in his life, and he spoke lovingly about each of them. Who is Sean Astin's biological father, and how did the revelation affect him? Stay tuned for more details. Unfortunately, Patty Duke passed away on the 29th of March 2016 in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. She was 69 years old. The cause of her demise was sepsis from a ruptured intestine. She passed away peacefully with her family by her side. Her demise was mourned by fans, friends, and the many people she helped through her advocacy. During her lifetime, Patty Duke won many awards. In addition to her Academy Award, she received 3 Emmy Awards and 2 Golden Globe Awards. She also earned a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Beyond these honors, she received honorary degrees and other awards for her mental health work. These recognitions showed how much people valued her both as an artist and as a human being. Patty Duke's legacy lives on through her acting, her books, and the countless lives she touched through her openness and kindness. She showed the world that even someone who seems successful on the outside can be struggling on the inside. By sharing her story, she helped break the silence around mental illness and inspired others to seek help and share their own experiences. She was an actress, a survivor, a fighter, a leader, and a healer. Patty Duke will always be remembered as someone who turned her pain into purpose and used her voice to make the world a better place. Her story is a powerful reminder that we all can make a difference, no matter where we start or what we go through. She was a brave woman who used her talent and her truth to help others. The Paternity Mystery. The story of the paternity mystery surrounding Patty Duke's son is one of the most talked about and unusual personal stories in Hollywood history. It involved confusion, secrecy, media attention, and DNA testing. Over the years, different men were believed to be the father of her oldest son, Sean Astin. The story took many turns, and for a long time, not even Sean himself knew for sure who his biological father was. However, at the heart of it all was a strong bond between mother and son, and the remarkable way the truth was eventually found. Patty Duke was a very famous actress in the 1960s. She won an Academy Award when she was just 16 years old for her role as Helen Keller in The Miracle Worker. She had her own popular television show called The Patty Duke Show and went on to act in many movies and television programs. She became a big star at a very young age. In the early 1970s, when Patty Duke was in her mid-20s, she was struggling with undiagnosed bipolar disorder. At the time, mental illness was not well understood, and Patty was going through a lot emotionally. This was the environment in which the mystery about Sean's paternity began. In 1970, Patty Duke became pregnant. At that time, she had been romantically involved with several men over a short period. These men included Desi Arnaz Jr., who was the son of famous television stars Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, as well as Michael Tell, a writer and music promoter. She was also friends with and later married John Astin, an actor known for playing Gomez Addams in The Addams Family. Due to the rapid succession of events, there was considerable confusion about the father of her baby. During that time, Patty Duke faced a lot of pressure from the public and the media. People were very interested in her personal life, especially since she was young, famous, and unmarried when she became pregnant. The newspapers and magazines were full of rumors. Many people believed that Desi Arnaz Jr. was the father of her baby, but Desi's mother, Lucille Ball, strongly objected to this idea. She thought that Patty Duke, who was older and having emotional problems, was not a good match for her son. As a result, the relationship between Patty and Desi ended. Shortly after her relationship with Desi ended, Patty suddenly married Michael Tell. Their marriage lasted only 13 days. According to Patty Duke, she married Michael because she was feeling confused and pressured. She later said that she was not in love with him and did not even really know him well. She quickly had the marriage annulled, which means it was legally erased as if it had never happened. Later, when Patty gave birth to her son Sean in February of 1971, she believed that Desi Arnaz Jr. was the father. That is what she told Sean for many years. However, Sean Astin grew up with John Astin as his father. Patty married John Astin in 1972, a year after Sean was born. John adopted Sean legally and raised him as his own son. For Sean, John Astin was the only father he ever knew during his childhood. Sean used the name Sean Astin, and he loved and respected John deeply. As far as he knew, John was his real father. He did not question it until he got older. When Sean Astin was a teenager, he began to hear stories and rumors about his birth and who his real father might be. He heard that Desi Arnaz Jr. might be his biological father, not John Astin. This was confusing for Sean, and he wanted to know the truth. He talked to Patty Duke about it, and she told him what she had believed at the time, that Desi Arnaz Jr. was likely his biological father. So for a while, Sean had a relationship with Desi Arnaz Jr. They spent time together, trying to build a connection. Desi also believed that he could be Sean's father. The two of them began to bond as father and son. However, there was still doubt, and Sean wanted to be sure. He wanted facts, not just feelings or memories. This led to the next step in his search for the truth. As Sean got older and technology improved, he decided to take a DNA test. He wanted to find out for certain who his biological father was. The test results were surprising. They showed that neither John Astin nor Desi Arnaz Jr. was his biological father. Instead, the DNA test pointed to Michael Tell, the man his mother had been married to for only 13 days before Sean was born. This result was unexpected even for Patty Duke, who had never thought that Michael was the father. She was shocked by the news. She had always believed that Michael Tell had nothing to do with Sean's birth, but the science said otherwise. After finding out the truth, Sean decided to reach out to Michael Tell. the two began to build a relationship. Although they had not known each other for many years, they started to form a connection. Sean explained in interviews that he considers himself lucky because he now has relationships with all three of the men who had been considered his father. He grew up with John Aston, had an emotional connection with Desi Arnaz Jr., and discovered a biological bond with Michael Tell. He said that all three men are important to him in different ways and that each has helped shape the man he became. Patty Duke herself supported Sean in his journey. Although she was surprised by the DNA results, she accepted them and supported her son's efforts to build a relationship with Michael Tell. She expressed love and pride for Sean in many interviews and said that he had handled the situation with grace and maturity. Patty also spoke about the challenges she faced during the time of Sean's birth and admitted that she was emotionally unwell and confused. She was not proud of the way things happened, but she was proud of the way Sean dealt with the situation. This proved how complicated life can be and how people can still come together and find peace, even after years of confusion. He has often spoken kindly about his mother, Patty Duke, and credits her with giving him strength, passion, and determination. He also talks openly about growing up in a family that had love, even if it did not have all the answers right away. When Patty Duke eventually passed away, Sean was deeply affected. However, he remained strong because he knew that would be his mother's greatest wish. Patty is remembered as an incredibly talented actress and a brave advocate for mental health. She is also remembered as a loving mother. The story of her son's paternity mystery is just one part of her life, but it is an important one. It shows the chaos she sometimes lived through, but also her willingness to face the truth and support her son no matter what. The mystery of Sean Astin's paternity was solved not just by science, but by love and honesty. Sean was able to connect with each of the men involved and build meaningful relationships. He learned that family is not always about blood, but about who shows up, who cares, and who helps you grow. This unusual and complicated story could have caused pain and anger, but it became a story of healing and understanding. It shows that the truth can sometimes take time, and that love can exist even when the path is not clear. Sean Astin's journey through this paternity mystery is a powerful reminder that life is not always simple, but with honesty, love, and openness, we can find our way through it. 3 fathers, 1 son. Sean Astin was born on the 25th of February, 1971. At the time of his birth, his mother, Patty Duke, was already a very famous actress. For most of Sean's childhood, John Astin was the man he called Dad. He was there for birthdays, school events, holidays, and everyday life. John was a steady and loving presence in Sean's life. Sean has often said that he felt very close to John and that he always considered him his father, regardless of biology. He has said in interviews that he considers himself lucky because he has 3 father figures in his life, and each one has contributed something meaningful. John Astin gave Sean the experience of being raised in a loving home. He was the father who taught him how to ride a bike, who helped with homework, and who offered support and encouragement as Sean began his own acting career. John was there for all the important moments in Sean's childhood and early adult life. Sean has said that John was the most stable and dependable father he could have asked for. Desi Arnaz Jr. offered Sean another kind of connection. For a while, Sean believed Desi was his biological father, and the two of them spent time together exploring what that relationship might look like. Even though the DNA test later showed that Desi was not the biological father, Sean never lost respect for him. He appreciated the time and energy Desi gave during a confusing period in his life. Michael Tell, although not present during Sean's childhood, became an important figure later. The discovery of their biological connection did not erase the years they missed, but it opened the door to something new. Michael accepted Sean with warmth and openness, and they began to know each other as adults. Sean has said that he values this connection, not just because of biology, but because of the kindness and interest Michael showed in building a relationship. Through this complex journey, Sean Astin came to see fatherhood in a unique and meaningful way. He realized that being a father is about much more than DNA. To him, fatherhood is about love, presence, support, and care. Sean often speaks about how grateful he is to have had 3 men who, in different ways, shaped his life. He honors all three of them and he sees them all as his fathers. Patty Duke herself was supportive of Sean's search for the truth. Even though she had made mistakes and had been wrong about Sean's paternity, she stood by him as he asked questions and found answers. She loved him deeply and was proud of the man he became. Before her demise in 2016, she spoke openly about how grateful she was for Sean and how impressed she was by how he handled the complex story of his life. Sean Astin today. Sean Astin is now in his mid-50s, an established actor, director, producer, speaker, and advocate. He continues to be known for beloved roles in movies like The Goonies, Rudy, and The Lord of the Rings, but his life today includes many different chapters beyond acting. He balances new projects in film and theater, activism on mental health, frequent public appearances, family life, and even educational achievements. His acting career didn't shorten over time. He is still working regularly. In 2025, Sean had a leading role in an action comedy film called Love Hurts, which was released on the 7th of February 2025. In this film, he stars alongside Ke Huy Quan, who played Data in The Goonies. Their reunion on screen marked a joyful return to their long friendship, and the movie was released during The Goonies' 40th anniversary year. Before that, he had appeared in a 2024 British fantasy adventure comedy film titled Man and Witch, The Dance of a Thousand Steps, sharing the screen with actors like Tammy Stronach and Jennifer Saunders. In 2023, he narrated Go West, a documentary short, and much more in 2022 and the years before. He continues to voice characters in animated shows and video games, including Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and multiple LEGO titles over recent years. On stage, Sean made his Broadway debut by playing Santa Claus in a revival of Elf the Musical. Previews began in November 2024, and the show officially opened later that month at the Marquis Theater in New York City. The run lasted until early January 2025. He stepped into the role originally played by Ed Asner in the film and George Wendt on stage, bringing his warm presence to Christmas audiences. Beyond acting, Sean has remained deeply involved in mental health advocacy. In April 2025, he delivered a powerful talk at Endicott College's Presidential Speaker Series. There, he spoke about growing up with a mother who lived with bipolar disorder and how that shaped his approach to empathy, honesty, and public openness. He framed mental health not as a private shame, but as a shared human struggle that must be discussed honestly. Sean also stays busy touring with fans and film festivals. In June 2025, he appeared at a special screening and live Q&A event in Salt Lake City, honoring the 40th anniversary of The Goonies. Hosted by Andrew Lentz, the event gathered fans and cast alike. Sean reflected on his memories of being Mikey and answered questions about his entire career, from childhood films to his adult roles. Just a few months earlier, he joined the cast for a reunion panel at AwesomeCon in Washington, D.C. The panel addressed long-standing fan myths about the Goonies, including whether the actors had really seen the one-eyed Willie pirate ship before filming. Sean made it clear he was insulted by the idea that they had to fake their reactions for the camera. He and his castmates clarified that they were skilled performers and that many reactions were practiced. It was a lighthearted moment that confirmed the cast's closeness even after 40 years. In terms of education, Sean continued learning even as he acted. He graduated cum laude from UCLA with a bachelor's degree in history and English, American literature, and culture. He later earned a master's degree in public administration and policy from American University in 2024. That same year, he was invited to be the commencement speaker at American University's fall graduation and was awarded an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters. Health and fitness still matter to him. In 2015, he completed the Ironman World Championship Triathlon in Hawaii and previously finished the Dopey Challenge at Walt Disney World, 4 races in 4 days. He remains active and encourages others to challenge themselves physically too. Politically and civically, Sean has been active for decades. He served as a civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army from 1995 to 2005, and on the President's Council for Civic Participation during the George W. Bush administration. In 2022, he received emeritus status as a civilian aide. He is a lifelong supporter of the Democratic Party, campaigning for candidates including John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden. In 2024, he appeared at the Democratic National Convention and urged the governor of California to sign legislation requiring safety testing for advanced AI models. Sean also works behind the scenes in film. Since the early 2000s, he has directed and produced, including the short film Kangaroo Court in 1994, which attracted an Academy Award nomination for Best Live Action Short Film. He and his wife Christine have also worked on adapting books into films, including the beloved novel Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. He stays engaged with fans through conventions and public appearances. He frequently attends Comic-Con events and live Q&As across the country, where he shares stories and answers fan questions with warmth and humor. For example, he participated in Comic-Con Manchester in July 2025 and spoke about his most awe-inspiring moments as an actor. His family life is whole, too. Sean and his wife Christine have 3 daughters, Alexandra, Elizabeth, and Isabella, all of whom share the middle name Louise. Alexandra appeared as his on-screen daughter in The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, when she was very young. Sean frequently shares moments with them on social media and expresses gratitude for the balance his family brings to his demanding career. Even now, Sean reflects on the Goonies' legacy. He continues to say that a sequel is happening. While he admits he has no specific details himself, he confirmed the project is moving forward, celebrating that Steven Spielberg and writer Chris Columbus are returning as producers. He reminisced that he and Corey Feldman once wrote a sequel idea as kids and joked that it included time travel and meeting One-Eyed Willie himself. Sean Astin today is much more than a movie star remembered for childhood films. He is a thoughtful public figure, someone who has grown into compassion, curiosity, and contribution. He continues to work in Hollywood in film, voice work, animation, streaming, stage, producing, and directing. He speaks out about mental health, encourages civic participation, and never stops learning. Through his education and speeches, he connects with students, fans, and communities. If you saw him today in an interview, you might hear him talk about trail runs, doing voice acting, writing screenplays, or mentoring young actors. You might hear about his daughters, his marriage of over 30 years, or his small tattoo on his ankle that matches the other members of the Lord of the Rings cast, 9, in the Elvish Tengwar script, to symbolize the Fellowship of the Ring. Through nearly 50 years in entertainment, Sean remains grounded in gratitude. He has never lost his ability to relate to ordinary people or to stay humble about his successes. Fans still quote, "Goonies never say die," a phrase he embodies with each new role, new mile run, new speech, and new project. Sean Astin today is an active, engaged, caring person, still doing what he loves while using his platform for good. From prayers in public policy to voicing lovable animated heroes, from leading a Broadway cast as Santa to raising thoughtful daughters, he shows what a life can look like when talent meets purpose and kindness. What are your thoughts on Patty Duke and her son's life? Share in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.